prepare for the return of the Alternative View Conference, AV5. Humanity versus Insanity, a conference that will make a difference. Featuring the most challenging and thought-provoking speakers from across the globe. May the 16th to the 18th, 2014. Staverton Park Hotel, Daventry, Northamptonshire. AV5, the Alternative View.
Okay, so the name of the talk this evening, ta-da! There we go, yeah! Right, I was listening to Brian this morning and I thought something to actually base us on where we're going with all this stuff. First, of course, people were saying, oh, we remember you from On the Edge. Well, thank you very much. Some of you said, oh, we remember Behind the Sofa. But I was very surprised that some of you don't know about Doomwatch, which is Fridays 6 till 8 on UK Column Live and Peterborough.fm. You don't have to live in Peterborough. You can get Peterborough.fm on the internet anywhere, so you have no excuse. Anyway, I was mentioning Brian there, and the phrase that I constantly hear from some of the defenders of the status quo is, oh, it's a cock-up, not a conspiracy. Oh, they're not that clever. They can't possibly do things like that. And if they're not the cock-up merchants, they're the coincidence theorists, which is all a coincidence. There's no conspiracy there. It's just a coincidence. And during this presentation, there'll be a lot of things that you say, yeah, it's just a coincidence. But the thing is, what I'm doing is drawing together all these coincidences and saying, really? All of them together? We shall see. See how skeptical you are by the end of the next hour or so. And I don't know if you're frustrated about this, but I always find when you're talking to people about some of this material, you only have to make one mistake, something they can pick up on, and the whole lot that you've been talking about, they immediately, like a pack of dominoes, say, well, I can't believe anything because you've got one fact wrong. Can you imagine that applying to the mainstream media, one thinks? Wouldn't be long, would it? Wouldn't be long before it's, oh, I detest the mainstream media because they keep telling me one lie again and again and again. And a couple of quotes for you which aren't on the following presentation. Whoever controls the media controls the mind, said Jim Morrison of the Doors fame. And a gentleman called Albert Camus said, the evil that is in the world almost always comes of ignorance, and good intentions may do as much harm as malevolence if they lack understanding. So let's see if, in terms of tools to take away from this event, we give you the ability to understand what is being presented in front of you. Some things aren't very subtle. For instance, if you're a Doctor Who fan, you obviously see in the Daleks the parallels to fascism. It's absolutely clear that the entire Dalek history is National Socialism in a science fiction environment. And as we're talking Hollywood today, in terms of the hidden codes of Hollywood, Hollywood had its own TV series that was all a parable of fascism. Again, as you can expect with a lot of the American entertainment, it wasn't that subtle. If you look here, of course, I wonder what symbol we're particularly looking at there. Well, not too subtle. And in fact, V, of course, is perhaps notorious for one famous scene. Yes, it's the hamster eating by the evil Diana. And here's one effect you don't want to look at too closely. There we go. So you can see it's not just Freddie Starr who eats hamsters. Now, Here is a slide with a load of text. Now, anybody who was sitting near me during Brian's talk will have seen that whenever Brian put some words on that he was going to read on screen, I closed my eyes. It wasn't because I was late to bed last night. I was, but that wasn't the reason. The reason is I went to a presentation all about PowerPoint and the sins and terrors of PowerPoint, and the guy actually demonstrated that if you read out what's on screen, it conflicts with what your eyes are seeing, and you end up not taking any of the information in. So if we've got a slide like this, by all means read it, but put your fingers in your ears, or alternatively shut your eyes and listen to me reading it out for those who can't see it at the back. So this is from Secret Societies and Psychological Warfare, Michael A. Hoffman. It's on page 78, so that you can actually see it. It is an ancient rule of both the moral and common law that silence connotes consent. Silence and a lack of meaningful action constitute consent in the face of these crimes. What does Hoffman mean by that? Well, they're showing you. They're showing you what they are going to do, but they're doing it in a subtle way. I had the Jehovah's Witness call during the week, which is why I was so late preparing this presentation, because they just gave me so much extra to think about. It's wonderful telling them about common purpose. It really is, seeing the looks on their faces. But interestingly, I said to them, what do you know about this? Psalm 50-18. And I did point out to them, this is only one of 20 variants that you can find at BibleHub.com. But this is the intriguing thing. When you see a thief, you join with him. You throw in your lot with adulterers. And they went, "Ooh, adulterers, oh dear, oh, that's a bit spicy, isn't it?" And I said, well, hold on, just look at the definition of adulterers. And there we go, very helpfully, I believe the definition of adulterers they were talking about in this psalm, in relation to what we're talking about this morning, deceiver, profligate, and cut out there is corrupt. Just under my picture there in the corner. Okay, so what does that basically mean? Yes, they are telling us one thing, but of course keeping secrets behind our back. So, this is basically a definition of Psalm 15:18. Here we go. When someone alludes to or hints at their intention or openly discloses this to their unsuspecting victim, and he remains silent, he is tacitly approving of the action. It becomes all the more sinister, however, when the plot is released in an altogether beguiling or innocuous format, not unlike the guise of entertainment. It becomes all the more difficult to separate the signal from the noise. In a similar vein, this is connected to the concept of the liability of the bystander, or hue and cry, since if one witnesses another commit a crime, for instance stealing, or lying, or killing, or is aware of the intention and yet does nothing, he is then as culpable as the offender himself. And again, this is trying to define how those elite who are actually putting these messages out there in front of us, how their mindset works. It's not our mindset, which is why we struggle to understand what's going on. I mean, it seems one of these ridiculous things to actually reveal your hand to people. But if we talk about Edgar Allan Poe here, the cask of Amontillado, it's not a sherry, I don't believe, but the antagonist hints at his evil intentions to his victim before he carries it out on him. There is some debate as to whether Poe was actually a Mason or simply knowledgeable about the occult fraternity's way of working, since a few of his works seem to allude to this kind of practice. So, again, we're talking perhaps the insiders showing the techniques that might be at work. Take you now onto the big screen in Hollywood. And 1951 was the movie The Day the Earth Stood Still. And within this film we have the Earth hero Benson arguing with our alien Klaatu here. And he was trying to explain that Klaatu should give mankind a chance and allow them to turn things around. But Klaatu refuses, saying, "We've watched and we've waited and we hoped that you would change. The decision is made. The process has begun. Should be said that in the movie, later, Klaatu relents, admitting that we are at the precipice of change. And this is the thing. Brian was saying earlier that you have the scenario now that everything is speeding up and we're getting to the peak, the crescendo. We're going to finally have the big reveal. So whatever that might be. But this is, again, alluded to way back in 1951. And, of course, cannot get to one of my presentations without at least one quote from James Bond and Ian Fleming. So again, the rule is either put fingers in your ears and read, or close your eyes and listen to this. Waiting for him to continue, Bond took the measure of his enemy. He knew what would be coming. Justification. It was always so. When they thought they had got you where they wanted you, when they knew they were decisively on top, before the knockout, even to an audience on the threshold of extinction, it was pleasant, reassuring to the executioner to deliver his apologia. Purge the sin he was about to commit. And that was from You Only Live Twice. And from the movie Goldfinger, here is James Bond about to have his sin purged. Okay? Of course, some films are far less subtle in this sort of type of revelation and how they put it across. So this from The Last Action Hero in 1993, when the Benedict character says, "Since you are about to die anyway, I may as well tell you the entire plot." And how many times does that happen in movies? And we talk about truth. We talk about the media and the fairy tales and literal propaganda we are now told. And you have the scenario that we have here, that 14th of February 2003, Florida Court of Appeals unanimously agreed with an assertion by Fox News that there is no rule against distorting or falsifying the news in the United States. They argued that, under the First Amendment, broadcasters have the right to lie or deliberately distort news reports on public airwaves. Fox attorneys did not dispute a claim that they pressured a journalist to broadcast a false story. They simply maintained that it was their right to do so. I think that says it all. Now, for those of you in the room who have seen the next slide, don't give the game away to those who may not have. But have a look at this following image. Okay? What can you see? What can you see? Yes. See how your mind works. There we go. Now, it's right in front of you. It's right in front of you. A botanist friend of mine, it was very intriguing what his reaction to this was. He looked at the flowers and said, ooh, there's a bit of romance in the air there. Because he looked at the flowers and they actually spoke on another level other than the lettering. And I thought, wow. So, again, this is all about bringing different knowledges into the pool and see how it affects it. This is from a book called The Secret Sales Pitch by August Bullock. Highly recommended to see what is actually going on right in front of us. This is a very, very old ad which he features upon. Again, probably a lot of you have seen this, and it's like, okay, yes, if you get crushed in the clinch with your soft pack, try our hard pack. Yes, well, that's not very subtle, is it? But if we look there, I'm featuring in on this area, and again, it's a sort of question of what's going on. What are you talking about, Alex? I can't see anything there. There's no Photoshop manipulation or anything like that. Let's do a comparison, though. It's there, right in front of you. Of course, there are other adverts that are far less subtle. Really, seriously. So it works at different levels. And who eats in Burger King? Very wise. Because this is how they think they should promote their materials. Speaks for itself. Now, a lot of this is based on subliminal advertising, and I thought I'd got a slam dunk to talk to you about here. Let's read this out. The birth of subliminal advertising as we know it dates to 1957, when a market researcher named James Vickery inserted the words "eat popcorn" and "drink Coca-Cola" into a screening of the movie Picnic from 1955, and that starred William Holden and Kim Novak. There you get all the facts and trivia here. The words appeared for a single frame, allegedly long enough for the subconscious to pick this up, but too short for the viewer to be aware of it. The subliminal ads supposedly created an 18.1% increase in Coke sales and a 57.8% increase in popcorn sales. Vickery's results turned out to be a hoax. But more recent experiments have shown that subliminal messages actually can affect behaviour in small ways. A Harvard study from 1999 employed a similar method to Vickery's. Subjects played a computer game in which a series of words flashed before them for a few thousandths of a second. One set got positive words like wise, astute and accomplished. The other set got words like senile, dependent and diseased. So despite the fact that these words flashed far too quickly to be consciously perceived, those who received positive words exited the room significantly faster than those who got negative words. So again, what we're talking about is what's working on a subconscious level, beneath the surface. Where intention goes, attention flows. When intention goes, attention flows, and that is where energy flows. We are constantly talking about. And how many have an adverse effect to this? Does that hurt any people's eyes? Anybody having to divert? It's quite interesting that is a still, but it does actually make you say, whoa, what is going on here? I always fall back on this quote from Samuel Huntington. It's from his 1975 report, The Crisis of Democracy, Report on the Governability of Democracies to the Trilateral Commission. Oh, we love the Trilateral Commission, don't we? Not. A functional national system requires some level of apathy and non-involvement. They are relying on people in the majority not doing anything. And how does this all get in front of us? It's all a question of celebrity. Celebrities are the cannon fodder. They shoot in front of us to actually distract us from the real news. Have a look how many times a big story about celebrity or celebrities breaks whenever there's a really serious piece of news that really should be getting top billing. It's quite astounding. Look out for it. That's one of the tricks to take away with you. What are they distracting you with when they put the celebrity story in line? Because most of these celebrity stories aren't current. They're from a few weeks back, or a few months back, and in some examples a few years back. They're not even current. So by the definition, they're not news. But celebrities get used, and whether they know it or not, they're out there helping spread the message. Hello, Madonna. What's that on your back? HSBC. This advert is starting to get re-screened just about now. Obviously, they knew I was going to use it in the presentation, so thank you very much, HSBC. Pyramid in the middle. And then you have all these symbols around here, and each one represents a different continent. Just a coincidence. Nothing to worry about. Move along now. Ah, there it is again. Just a coincidence. And bless the Jehovah's Witnesses again, because I said, of course, you know the pyramid and the separated capstone is on the dollar bill, don't you? For those who don't see it. But something interesting I picked up researching this time around. Zoom in on the eye. Is that human? Whoa! Where's David Icke? It's a lizard! And it's all over comic book movies. DC's Green Lantern. The hard drive, where important information about an alien is given over to a representative of the senator. Seriously? Really? Just there out of coincidence? We're just playing with you. Thor gives us the Eye of Horus. Coincidence? Of course it is. And then coming right up to date, we have Captain America the Winter Soldier. It has been pointed out, if you want a movie that explains what's really going on at the moment, this may well be it. And for those of you who watch Channel 4 on a Friday night, you'll know that there is a huge story crossover in the show Marvel's Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. And you may say to yourself, well, what is all this about? Well, it's all about an organisation called Hydra. And if you want this parable to work, just substitute Hydra with common purpose. Because that's what it's all about. And where are we going with this? Well, conjecture began over the role of Alexander Pierce, played by Robert Redford, and the role he would play in the Captain America film. No one was really too surprised to see Pierce revealed as the ultimate Hydra, common purpose double agent. Of course, Hydra runs much deeper than any one key member of the organisation, and we see a multitude of Marvel comic characters revealed as Hydra members, including Jasper Sitwell, Iron Man 2's Senator Stearns, and, of course, a good chunk of S.H.I.E.L.D. Marvel agents. So the threat of Hydra in all of this shows serious betrayals and serious infiltration. Have a look at the non-existent colours there on the slide. There we are. Have a look at the colours there. What about this? Again, doing research. This is why it's taken so long to research this week, because it's just like, seriously? Look at the colours. There's an American organisation called Common Core. Interesting. Who's Common Core? Well, they're sort of like the junior division in America of... Have you seen this? Is that any relation to... Don't know. And you've heard all about this sort of the one eye and eyes being covered, and oh, it must be a great big joke with all these celebrities doing this. A big joke? There's a lot of them in on it. How many is there? Look at it. This is an epidemic. I would expect them to be going to their doctor, going, doctor, I keep covering my one eye. I don't know why. And again, interesting things that you find when you're sort of looking through various bits and pieces. Did this lot come out of a factory? Look at them. Same model. Different people. Quite astounding. Now, who can tell me what movie that quote comes from? Anybody? A very nefarious quote. Give up your inquiries, which are completely useless, and consider these words a final warning. We hope for your own good that this will be sufficient. The movie was correct. Now, I've got a long diatribe about this, and this is from the Vigilant Citizen website. Very much worth your while having a look, because they go into this in far more depth than I can do in just over an hour. Eyes Wide Shut is about an occult secret society which eliminates those who cross its path. Some theories arose about Kubrick's death and its suspicious nature. Director Stanley Kubrick unexpectedly died only 5 days after submitting the final cut of the movie to Warner Brothers, making Eyes Wide Shut his swan song. And, of course, the version which got released was very much cut and messed around with. We have no idea whether there is existing the original Kubrick cut anywhere. There are rumours that it is about. But it does beg the question, why would you cut a director's final movie of the stature of Kubrick? It's for, basically, Kubrick fans, and Kubrick fans will want to see it unexpurgated. So you only raise their ire by putting some scissors to it. How strange. Well, here we go. Let's go into this. Tom Cruise's character is called Dr. Bill, as in the dollar bill. Several times during the movie, Dr. Bill either waves his money or his doctor badge at people to get them to do what he wants. Bill is part of the upper class, and his dealings with people of the lower class are often resolved with money. Played by Nicole Kidman, Alice lost her job in the art world and is now fully supported by her husband's salary. While she lives very comfortably, Alice appears to be extremely bored with her life as a stay-at-home mother. The name Alice is most likely a reference to the main character of Alice in Wonderland, a fairy tale about a privileged girl who is bored with her life and goes through the looking glass to end up in Wonderland. In Eyes Wide Shut, Alice is often shown staring at the looking glass, grooming herself, or maybe looking for something more to life. Too much detail, academic hogwash, who knows. But our man does manage to sneak in, with some inadvertent help of a friend, into one of their huge, gross ceremonies that this group is taking part in. Interesting masks. Where have I seen masks like that before? Oh, yes. And part of the ceremony, oh, very, very interesting. That's the head cheese there. The high priest sits on a throne which features a very important symbol. What is that? It is a double-headed eagle topped by a crown. And, of course, this is one of the most ancient and prominent symbols of Freemasonry. A crowned double-headed eagle is representative of the 33rd degree of Freemasonry, the highest degree attainable. So, is Kubrick implying that the High Priest is a 33rd degree Freemason? I think, in the words of Basil Fawlty, I think the specialist subject is the bleeding obvious. So, Bill discovers in a newspaper that Amanda, a lady he has met along the way, was found dead in a hotel room due to an overdose. The way in which the ritualistic murder is disguised as an overdose is highly similar to the many celebrity ritual deaths disguised as overdoses that occur in real life. To those in the know, the article perfectly describes the life of an entertainment industry beta programming slave, someone of the like of Marilyn Monroe. We indeed learned that Amanda was emotionally troubled as a teen and underwent treatments, a code word for MK Ultra programming, perhaps. And it goes on, basically, to solve the riddle of the true identity of a high priest is never revealed. However, Kubrick left a few clues hinting to his identity and his relationship with Amanda. In the movie's end credits, it is listed that the role of the high priest was played by assistant director of the movie, Leon Vitali. Leon Vitali. So that's actually in the movie there. Furthermore, now Vitali is the name of the London fashion designer Amanda had an affair with. Furthermore, the high priest has an unmistakable English accent. You can therefore deduce that the high priest is the fashion designer. This hidden subplot reveals that the true nature of the fashion and entertainment industry, high-ranking individuals in these fields are initiated in occult secret societies and deal with MK slaves. And a lot of critics who have read this have gone, absolute hogwash, of course Kubrick wasn't doing that. But as you'll see as we go along with another example of Kubrick's work in just a short while, the layers could be just one of those coincidences. But more likely than not, knowing how much detail Kubrick liked to put into his films, more likely than not, a lot of what has been surmised is probably on the nail. And when we're talking about the secret societies, one is called the OTO, or Ordo Templi Orientis. Now, these and similar secret societies still partake in rituals involving physical energy, as it is perceived to be a way to attain a state of enlightenment. And again, it doesn't matter what your beliefs are, what we're saying here is, what are the beliefs of the people at the top of the tree who are guiding everything? Think from their point of view rather than your own point of view. This is it. Think beyond your empathy with other human beings. The OTO is still extremely influential in elite circles and reaches the highest levels of politics, business, and even the entertainment industry. At the core of these orders is the Thelema, a philosophy created by Aleister Crowley. But he's summed up with the saying, "Do what thou wilt." And this saying is actually a translation of the motto of an 18th century secret society, the infamous Hellfire Club. And according to a number of sources, their activities including mock religious ceremonies, devil worship, and occult rituals. Although details are vague regarding that elite club, they were known for performing elementary satanic rites as a prelude to their nights of fornication. I love some of the words they choose here. This doesn't get us an 18 certificate when we put this on DVD. These acts were, however, not just for fun or to shock people, as some sources might claim. The members were initiates of occult mysteries, and their rituals were based in ancient rites involving invocations and other forms of black magic. So, we have the situation, therefore, that although Kubrick never actually names a secret society infiltrated by Bill in Eyes Wide Shut, there are enough clues to understand what kind of club he's referring to. Most importantly, he's telling his viewers what is going on, that these societies still exist and they are more powerful than ever. And you'll see on the slide down here, this is the tattoo that Peaches Geldof had here. OTO. She died in what we are told was not any suspicious circumstances. Oh, really? Okay. Final scene of the movie takes place at a toy store, place full of highly symbolic items. Like this, which says Magic Circle. Just a coincidence, of course. Not there deliberately. Why would Kubrick do that? It shows the occult elite's way of seeping through popular culture, but are not noticed by those who have their eyes wide shut. Again, is that the reason for the title of the movie? And again, we hear this reference, and people say, oh, don't be ridiculous. They're not into symbolism. They're not into dressing up. They're not having wild parties. They're not showing us what's really going on. Really? Let's look at Disney Cinderella versus a bit of real life. Really? Perhaps they thought it would be cute just to copy Disney's Cinderella. Of course. Right. More Kubrick. The Shining. Now, interesting things in here, and I'm going to take one basis of analysing this. There's a whole documentary being done on different ways to read what is in The Shining. But I'm going to take this way because this is the fun stuff. Danny, look at his jumper here. Apollo 11, USA. And what happens in this particular sequence? Danny is crouched on the floor and rises up like a launching. And he travels then to room number 237. As if taking some flight, some space excursion perhaps. And the intriguing thing about this, 237, 237,000 miles is the distance between the Earth and the Moon. Just a coincidence, of course. Just to substantiate this wild story that there's some connection to NASA and Kubrick and the moon landings being faked. Now, the interesting thing about this is Stephen King wrote the original novel, The Shining, and this wasn't room 237 in The Shining, it was room 217. And Kubrick contended that the Timberline Lodge, which is basically the exterior stand-in to the Overlook Hotel at Mount Hood, and Kubrick said that they requested him to change the number of the sinister room 217 of King's novel 2237 so customers would not avoid the real room 217. However, the Timberline has no room 217 either. And I come from a TV and movie fan background. And I can absolutely guarantee you, if I was going to stay at the Timberline Lodge because of the connection with The Shining, I would want to stop in room 217. So, it's again, step back and look at the logic here, and there is no logic. It actually defies logic. They've lost the marketing opportunity by changing the room, if that was indeed the reason. Okay. One little extra clue here, and I'm not sure about the veracity of this, but if you look here, I apologise for the zooming, but again, we're talking very small details. That's not a complete capital R. It is slightly shorter, which leaves you with the capital letters M-O-O-N. Just a coincidence? Obviously they had a problem when they were making the key and the R didn't come out at the same size. Oh, bugger. Just a coincidence? No, we can't connect these things together. You're being bloody ridiculous now, Alex. This is a corker. Nobody spotted this one. 11, 12, 14, 15, 16, 17. The 6 flights that made moon landings. That's just a coincidence. The art department having a laugh. Don't worry about it, Alex. No. See this stuff up here? It's called Tang. What's the significance of Tang? They took it with them on the lunar missions. Oh, Alex, don't be ridiculous. You're linking all this together and making something out of nothing. Don't be ridiculous. Equally well, I'll show you the cover of the documentary in a moment, but this documentary covers the moon theory. It also covers a theory that what Kubrick was actually describing in The Shining was the suppression and destruction of the American Indian. And again, it's a huge amount of evidence sort of backing that up. Maybe he was doing both. Maybe I'm still being ridiculous. The movie is Room 237, out now, well worth checking out. Very, very intriguing. And some of the theories will have you shaking your head going, nah. So, The Matrix. This is a well-known one, but again, can easily be put down to a coincidence, or can it? Hero Neo's passport. There it is. What's the significance of this, you say, if you haven't seen this before? Let's look down there. What's that all about? I can't see that date. Does that really say 11th of September 2001? Oh, coincidence. Don't worry, they weren't telling us anything. Neither were the Simpsons, of course. 9/11. Whoa. Mind you, I'm sure the Simpsons are actually playing with us because they do have organisations like this with the All-Seeing Eye. George would be proud, I would imagine. Permeates all through the episode, of course, the All-Seeing Eye. They also tackle surveillance in Simpsons. And of course, there you go. As not seen on TV, Homer and Bart's surveillance camera blind spot. It's going to get that bad. And of course, they do like having a laugh about all this idea of secret societies and their dark rituals and everything else. You see, the annual meeting of the International Brotherhood of Evil. And of course, down here, it's got to be there, Ming the Merciless, yes! And I'm covering all the standard bases here, which a lot of you, I hope, will already know about, just so we can build a whole picture here. The Lone Gunman was a very short-run TV series spin-off from The X-Files. And the pilot first episode went out on the 4th of March 2001. 4th of March 2001. What was the movie about? It was a movie about nefarious organisations flying jetliners into the Twin Towers. In this version of history, though, our heroes managed to unlock the autopilot with a manual override. Of course, that doesn't exist in real life, does it, boys and girls? And, of course, that means they are able to make sure that the plane misses its target. And, of course, the Lone Gunmen, in their own particular newsletter, are able to cover the fact that disaster has been avoided. A disaster that would follow on 9/11/2001. One of the lead characters in the show, Dean Hagland here, went on the Alex Jones show and said, and this is the quote, "Part of the pilot, as it said in the script, was that this event would be used to start an international war on terror." Just a coincidence, nothing to see. Oh, well, you know, they guessed and look, it came true a few months later. Coincidence! We could talk about Family Guy. Family Guy episode recently aired called Turban Cowboy. Okay? Now, there are two distinct elements within the same episode. And this is the thing which a lot of the people who are trying to distract and quell the questions that are being asked about this episode. These were two storylines, these two little scenes were in the same episode, Turban Cowboy. The first sees Peter Griffin on his phone, and every time he gets on his phone, we hear an explosion in the background, in the distance. Mm-hmm. And in another part of the episode, this is supposed to be Peter heading towards the finish line of the Boston Marathon. And we know what happened near the finish line of the Boston Marathon. But absolute furor that some amateur video editor would take those two clips and edit them together into one sequence to say compare and contrast. Just a coincidence. Of course they didn't mean it. Of course they didn't have any pre-knowledge. The Dark Knight Rises. This is, I tell you, this is just bizarre. Absolutely bizarre. In terms of checking with The Dark Knight Rises as to what was really going on here. Down here, you probably can't see that. Let's blow it up. Sandy Hook. Now, I want to show you a book. This is where the camera work gets very, very good. There we go. This is The Dark Knight Manual. Absolutely glorious book. Very, very nice. Let me give you some dates connected to The Dark Knight Rises, the film, and this book. Filming on The Dark Knight Rises was carried out between May and October 2011. Post-production work between 2011 and January 2012. This book, The Dark Knight Manual, Tools, Weapons, Vehicles and Documents from the Batcave, was published by Titan in the UK on the 26th of June 2012 and in the US by Insight Editions on the 10th of July 2012. The film was released in the USA on the 16th of July 2012 and the London premiere in the UK was on the 18th of July. Now, into the back, there is a lovely little pocket, little black envelope pocket, stuck inside the back cover. And in that is a map. Okay? Let us look at their version of the map. I'll get the glare off. Down here, equivalent place. Doesn't say Sandy Hook. It says South Hinckley. Somewhere between the artwork being given to the publishers for this book and the movie coming out, South Hinckley was changed to Sandy Hook. As Jack Regan said in The Sweeney, "Get your trousers on, you're nicked." This has been changed deliberately before the movie and very close to the release of the movie. We can tell that by it being in the tie-in book. But of course, it's just a coincidence because there's lots of places called Sandy Hook. It's a very common name. And that is what we are told is the reason to accept the change. Really? Oh, I'm getting so annoyed. Coincidences. They're all over the shop. Again, how many you buy into and how deep you go into this and how much you believe in numerology, for instance. It's a long shot, but a lot of you will see any credence in this. And you'll probably say, well, that's it. Everything Alex said was rubbish because I didn't believe this particular segment. But again, I offer this out as just looking in depth at a couple of similar themed series. One from America in Jericho and one from the UK called Spooks Code 9, which is a spin-off from Spooks designed for the teenage market, which is why it went on BBC Three. Jericho, first episode, broadcast 20th of the 9th, 06. 2 plus 9 plus 6 equals 17. Spooks Code 9, first broadcast, first episode, 10th of the 8th, 8th, 1 plus 8 plus 8, 17. The number 17 is the God energy number, the number of immortality. It indicates that a person's name will be remembered after he has passed on, says Joanne Walmsley in Sacred Scribes. Again, numerology, do you take it at face value, or do you say, well, that's just a stretch of an it's just a coincidence? But there's other ways this stuff all works, to be honest. Take a look at these two, side by side. An Inconvenient Truth from 2006. And The Day After Tomorrow from 2004. So, this shot is from which of those? Anybody know? Which shot? Both is correct. Al Gore lifted footage from an apocalypse-style blockbuster movie and stuck it in his movie to make the case that his spoof called An Inconvenient Truth was actually true. But we believe what is put in front of us. And of course, special mention for V for Vendetta, a film that if you haven't seen, you really, really need to see. It really is a parable for our times. And of course, the posters, the official posters say everything you need to know. Strength through unity, unity through faith. Yes, they are actually going to use religion as a way to divide and conquer. And of course, there it is. Go to work, get married, have some kids, pay your taxes, pay your bills, watch your TV, follow fashion, act normal, obey the law, and repeat after me, I am free! Just a little bit too close to home, isn't it? And this is so true, considering the elections that are coming up. People should not be afraid of their governments. Governments should be afraid of their people. That's how it works, and that's what they are trying to put down. And again, Alan Moore, the author of V for Vendetta, the script says it. Noise is relative to the silence preceding it. The more absolute the hush, the more shocking the thunderclap. Our masters have not heard the people's voice for generations. Even, and it is much, much louder than they care to remember. We have the power, and that's a solution that we need to appreciate. We don't have to be afraid. We can take this monster on. Who remembers the series Lost? Oh, it did. The fans who had followed it for 5 seasons were absolutely apoplectic with rage at the final scenes. I said, is that an ending? Is that an ending? So what you basically been telling us about the hype, and this is a big spoiler, so if you've not seen Lost, shut your ears. They basically find out that they've been dead all along. During the whole programme, they've been dead. And here they are in God's waiting room, or whatever waiting room it happens to be, waiting to sort of go on to their next adventure. And there they do. They take it in turns, one by one, to walk down the aisle to whatever stands on the other side of that wall. And a great many people contend that what we are actually seeing there is a realization that yes, you are infinite consciousness having a human experience. And of course, that freaks the fans out, because it goes against everything we are ever indoctrinated by religion about the nature of reality. Ian mentioned They Live last night. Oh, he was just priming me for this morning. They Live, another movie which tells you everything you need to know. Ex-WWF wrestler Roddy Piper plays a character called Nada, who finds a load of sunglasses. And these sunglasses allow him to see the world as it really is. And how does the world really look? And if you think about it, this is exactly what is going on in our media right now. There we are. Conform, everybody! Work, sleep, play. 8 hours, 8 hours, 8 hours. Consume, obey. And, of course, it is all there for you to see. Conform, sleep, no thought. What we're being told by the mainstream media. Every time you pick up the mail on Sunday, effectively, that's what you are getting. They are telling you how to think. They are not challenging you to think for yourself. And one of the big key films, again, if you're going to watch anything to actually sort of give you an idea of where you're going, The Hunger Games is the one. We have the original film, we've already had the sequel, there are 2 more films coming along. But, to explain it to you, The Hunger Games is set in a world that is exactly what is described to be the New World Order. A rich and powerful elite, an exploited and dumbed down mass of people, the dissolving of democracies into police-state entities, high-tech surveillance, mass media used for propaganda, and a whole lot of blood rituals. Even human dignity is revoked as the masses are forced to watch their own children killing each other as if they were caged animals. And that being said, there is little to no difference between moviegoers who watch the movie The Hunger Games and the masses in the movie that witness the cruelty of the games. Both are willing participants in an event that portrays the sacrifice of their own under the amused eye of the elite. And the hero, Katniss, begins her rebellion against the capital when her young friend Rue is killed, and decorating her dead body with flowers and using the District 12 salute to show the capital that whatever they do or force us to do, there is a part of every tribute they can't own. And a tribute, of course, in this perspective, is a child being murdered. Now, the most insidious hidden message in the movie is don't bother to rebel against the powers that be because you'll lose and you'll pay a harsh tribute forever in being obliged to sacrifice innocent lives in mortal confrontations in between all rebelling factions that challenge the powers that be. The losing rebels will be forces to fight one and other. And as I say, we've already had the first sequel, which is called Catching Fire. And in this are two heroes from the winning district who think, after having won the Hunger Games, they will be free to live a life their own. They keep challenging the status quo, so the powers that be change the rules and put them in again to the Hunger Games. But this is the champion of champions one. You've seen all this on Big Brother before, haven't you? And this is where it's coming from. The champion of the champions, so this is a way for them to try and kill them off a second time. And for those of you who know Agenda 21, it's got all the alarm bells ringing about that. Moving people into defined colonies so that much of the land can be allowed to be green and pleasant once more. How are you doing on time? Or not? Oh yes, they're on my viewing list. So more on that later. The Hungover Games. Yeah. So there we go. More viewing for you. Now this is an intriguing one. This is called The Conspiracy, and it's an independent film from Canada. So I thought to myself, do I want to put this in because it's not strictly Hollywood? But this is intriguing. And my thanks to Thomas Sheridan for sort of reminding me about this in the week. And I thought, of course, that's what we can get to our conclusion with. Basically, the movie stars Aaron Paul and James Gilbert as Aaron and Jim, filmmakers within the film, working on a documentary on conspiracy theorists. And in particular, an obsessive man named Terence. Now, at first, his rants seem to be the output of an addled mind, as they would say. Oh, look at all that addlement involving, planes surviving impacts. Oh, yes. But when Terence disappears and Aaron and Jim investigate a little too deep, they find themselves the targets of a mysterious organisation called the Tarsis Group. And so they discover a high-powered retreat and networking organisation for the political and business elite. If you like, it's a happy shopper version of this Bohemian Grove, where all the elite meet and dance around great big owls and do what we are told are mock sacrifices. If you haven't heard about this, worth researching Bohemian Grove, because it really does happen, and all the great and the good do attend it. So, in terms of the conspiracy, I was watching the film because I actually got sent a preview copy of it sort of way before it actually got released. And for about the first 3/4 to 4/5 of the movie, I was thinking, I can't believe they're doing this. They're actually giving us in the conspiracy community the benefit of the doubt. They are telling us what is going on. They're showing people. But the ending, and I give away the ending because it's very relevant to know that you will be let down by the end of the film. Because effectively, what we are shown at the end of the film is this is just a load of very rich people having a bit of a laugh. Of course, there's no human sacrifices, nothing to worry about. This is just one of those hobbies that they have. Just give their parties a little bit of extra spice. I found this on the web, on the comments section on an interview with the director. This is a summary of it. The end result favours the skeptics, which makes all of the truth in this video invalid, and conspiracy is just bull. It's showing skeptics facts and then casting them off, which in hand does help to keep the blind blind. People who believe in the conspiracies are shown as having mental and hysteric tendencies. When you realise that history repeats and you really pay attention to what's going on around you, then you'll find the truth. We all know corruption is there, just what makes you think it has limits and that it ever changes. And that's the horrible, horrible cop-out at the end of the film. It just had so much promise and just blew it all away in the last few minutes by going, just a bit of fun, nothing to worry about. Now, I'm not suggesting that you all go and immerse yourself in TV and movies and look at what's going on, but it is worth being selective in your viewing to see what is really going on, because it's well worth seeing these hidden messages that are out there. And I had to finish with Star Wars. It's one hopefully most people are familiar with. One of the most derided characters, probably rightfully, in the whole Star Wars universe is called Jar Jar Binks. There's Jar Jar. Thing is, Jar Jar is the only one who actually gets what's going on. He's addressed in the Galactic Council here and advising them that a false flag has been carried out. But of course we have to ridicule Jar Jar, so he's obviously mental. Don't listen to him. There's no such thing as false flags, despite the fact the film is illustrating such. And here's a scene that was cut from the movies for the very reason that some people actually understood what Jar Jar was saying about the entire establishment. No one gets a laugh, but there we go. And it is a story to be told here that we keep hearing the word fascism, and here we have the stormtroopers on the streets, and down here, if we get the full picture there, fascism. You really think it'll be this obvious? Totally unfair. Never let a Jedi in the Olympics. The Skywalkers. And you thought your family was dysfunctional. I love these. Sorry, just going through them. Here's one about government. Didn't realise this. Govern, goober, equals control. Ment, as in mente, equals mind. Control, mind. Your acquiescence is their power. One of my favourites. Regrets. Those were the droids you were looking for. It is right in front of you. They are using Jedi mind tricks on you. As I say, check out vigilanttcitizen.com if you really want to go under the bonnet of not just the film world, but particularly the music world. That is a whole new story in terms of the imagery that's going on in a lot of the popular videos that we are allowing our young children to see. And it's all sinking into their heads. And after all this, quote from Jim Keith, Casebook on Alternative 3. If you haven't gotten the idea that this world is run by a criminal elite lacking the slightest concern for the welfare of mankind, then you haven't been paying attention. What can you do? Social media out there. What's social media all about? It's all about data mining. So what can you do? Stop giving your information away. And when you say, I always tick the box in the leaflet, no further information, don't pass on to third parties. Very nice, that's a start. But you're doing it all the time, on Facebook, on Google, on Twitter. You're telling everyone, oh, only my friends can see what I am writing. Really believe that? They can see it all. And this is one of the primary things to remember and tools to take out with you. To know your enemy, you must become your enemy. This is Sun Tzu. He was a tactician from 544 to 496 BC. Military mind of no compare. This is where it all gets to. And that, basically, is where we're at. There's a couple of little promos here because We need you to sort of get on side with what's going on in our particular neck of the woods. You may have seen this leaflet outside. Probably not, because not a lot have been picked up. I have written a novel, fiction novel, called Mindful. And as one critic, Daisy, over there, said, you managed the impossible in getting virtually every conspiracy into one story. And this is the Trojan horse. The Trojan horse, this is how I'm going to try and get the message out there. The Trojan horse is taking all the conspiracies as read. They're real. And this is the basis of this story. So, register your interest in getting the book when it's out and giving it as Christmas presents to everybody you know. And I have a box of DVDs with me. If you want more on Behind the Sofa, on the Edge, and indeed Alternative 3. If you've not seen Alternative 3, I have copies, so you can get them from me. And don't forget, tell us more about what you've seen. There's a lot out there that they're doing right in front of us. If you see anything out there, get in touch with us via doomwatch.com, and we can help spread the word and show the enormity of what's being revealed right in front of our eyes. Thank you very much!